Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Trevor with Maker Experiment, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the best laser for starting a business. Let's get into it. Before we get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you know when I come out with new videos. I want to do a series of videos around lasers for business and buying a laser for a business. So if you have any questions you want me to answer, put them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer all of those in video. And that way I can help you create the best situation for yourself, for your business, to try to take all of the questions you have and get them answered when you go buy a machine. With that in mind, let's get into the topics that I have for you today. All right, I'm going to try to actually break this up potentially into multiple videos. We're gonna see how this goes. In this specific video, I'm going to focus more on the brands that I would recommend or may not recommend, and things to talk to those brands about when you go to shop for a machine, things you should have them try to do, and things to think about when going through this process. Now, I'm not going to give you a specific model to look at. I'm going to try to break that down in a different video of good beginner machines and specific model numbers. That's on the list of things to do. We'll see when I get to it, but I at least wanted to get you this information. So I do have my notes. And hopefully it's helpful information that will get you started if you're looking to buy a laser or looking to upgrade a laser, or maybe just looking to get into it and don't know a lot about it. Keep in mind that throughout this entire video, this is my opinion based on my experiences. I want to focus on 10 things that you should think about or at least consider or do during your process of getting quotes or buying a machine that will help you narrow down your choices. So these are all things that I have done throughout the years. Some of them I learned after buying a laser, which I wish I knew before, but I'm hoping that by giving you this list, it will help you narrow it down as well. Now, I did make a video a while back called 10 Things to Think About if you want to buy a laser. I will put a card up to that video. I'll also put a link in the description to that video. That one is more along the lines of considering your workspace and your power to it and what your needs are from a machine standpoint. This list is more about interacting with the company and things you should ask the company and how to narrow down the brand you want to go with based on the experience you have. So before we get into it, leave a link below if you are a laser owner to what laser you own. I'm always interested to see if I have people all from one kind of brand or if it's kind of spread out because it helps me figure out what kind of videos to make and what to focus on. And if you have an idea for a video, put that in the comments below as well, because I'm always looking for new content to create. Let's get into the 10 things to think about when you are going through this process. The first one is to request that they machine not only your material, but your design. So let's say there's a design that you plan to make a lot of or a material you plan to use all the time. So this could be 1/4-inch plywood, this could be acrylic, this could be a multi-ply acrylic. It could be whatever you plan to use. Now, it's a good idea to talk to the company. It's a good idea to tell them what machine you're interested in and have them actually machine your design on your material with the machine that you're looking to buy. Now, the reason I say this is you want to know if the machine you are actually interested in holds up to the task. They may try to machine it on whatever they have or whatever they want to try to sell you. A lot of times they try to upsell you. So when you go in, be very clear that you want it machined on machine XYZ. You want it with your design on your material. Asking this question and going through this process will also give you a little bit of an insight into what their customer service would be like. Because if they're willing to do that, then they're willing to treat you like a real customer and they're willing to, in my mind, do what they need to do to convince you that they're right for you. Because at the end of the day, you're buying this machine. They're not giving it to you, so you need to put them to the test. When you do this, you should have a list of things to look at, such as the completion time for the machining process to finish, the engraving and cutting quality. You want to make sure that it holds up to what you want to produce. And then if you were to fill the whole bed with this item, how many could you produce? How would that work for your production times? Can you estimate the time it's going to take to do something, or does it actually have to run the job to figure that out? Those kinds of questions. If they're not willing to do your design and they're just willing to do some cookie cutter design that they have, to me, that's a little bit of a red flag, because they're not willing to try, meaning that maybe they don't feel comfortable trying to do it on their machine, or for whatever reason. This would be a red flag to me if they don't want to do this. So keep that in mind. It might be useful that you put a grid together of the brands you plan to look at, and you have a grid of things that you want them to do, and you put check marks or X's. I don't know. Whatever works for you. I know when I went through this, Epilog was more than willing to machine whatever I wanted on whatever material I wanted. If you're providing the material and you're providing the design, honestly, they really shouldn't care. The second thing I would think about is, can you see the machine in person? Now, this isn't always possible. A lot of places have demo rooms or distributors that have machines set up. Trade shows are a great place to see the machines in person, because there's usually a lot of brands all in one building. And if for some reason COVID's a problem, is there a way to see the machine working live or over Zoom or something like that? Those are all things to consider, because you want to see what you want to buy. That's the end game. You want to be able to see the machine that you want to buy doing what you want it to do, and make sure that it actually produces the results you expect. The third thing is, look at the capabilities and limitations of each machine. So things that I would think about are size restrictions, are there Z height restrictions? A lot of this will impact what you can make. A good example of this is like the Glowforge I mentioned earlier. You cannot fit a standard size Yeti Rambler on the Glowforge. You can't engrave it. So therefore, if you want to do tumblers as part of your business, that automatically strikes out the Glowforge, because it can't do it. Now, there are workarounds that are a real pain in the butt to try to do, but you can't directly engrave it. So that's something to think about. If you know that you want to do a specific product, you have to make sure that that machine will work on that product. Another thing you need to think about with the machines is, are the accessories you want to have available? So a rotary machine for doing mugs, different lens sizes for doing deeper items, whatever it may be. Do they make it easy to get an exhaust fan or a compressor or whatever you might need? It all just depends. And just because they make it easy doesn't mean they're quality either, but at least knowing that the accessories are options that are available, that is a step in the right direction. Number 4 is, how do the warranties work? This one is interesting because some of them are like a flat, oh, it's a 1-year warranty and that's it, or a 2-year warranty and that's it. In the case of Epilog, if you buy a new component, that specific component gets a new 2-year warranty when you buy it. So say you buy the machine in 2018. For some reason, you replace the tube in 2022. Now, if you replace the tube in 2022 and you buy a new one, you get a new 2-year warranty that will last to 2024. I don't know of another manufacturer that does that. I could be wrong, but that part was also one of the reasons why I went with Epilog. So with all of that, there's a few things you want to think about with warranties. So one is, are extended warranties available? Do you get the option to pay for a longer warranty? I know Boss Laser had options for like 2-year, 3-year, 4-year, at least at the time that I was looking at them. Will they quote you the actual cost of the replacement, or are there hidden costs? Like, for example, do you buy a tube and then they say, oh, it's, I don't know, $1,000. and then you're ready to pay $1,000, and then they say, oh, well, it's actually $1,100 after shipping. See, things like that, they need to give you the full cost up front. They also need to make it easy to do. So is it something that will get shipped to you, or do you have to ship the machine back? Which leads to number 5. Number 5 is, what is replacing a part like? So for me, as long as it's something that's not like in the brains of the actual machine, chances are it's a part that I can replace. Even then, most of the time it's a part you can replace in your shop or in your house or whatever. There are companies that make you send the machine back, which involves shipping costs to and from them. You also have to pay for their labor to replace the part for you, things like that. So that can be kind of a pain. Will they send a tech out to you? So some distributors, depending on the company, might send a tech to replace it for you, but they'll still do it on site for you, which beats having to ship it all back. There's also some companies that will make videos on how to replace the parts step by step and make it super easy. So again, this is why I went with Epilog. I could get all the parts I needed whenever I needed. It was easy, they would ship it out. This is very important when it comes to a business, because you want the part quick. You want it turned around quick. You want to be able to replace it quickly and get back up and running. You don't want to have to ship your machine back somewhere, get it fixed, and then ship it back, because you're already talking about a week to ship it, another week to ship it back, probably take a week or more to fix it. So you're behind 3 weeks on production because you ran into a problem. So keep that in mind. Ask those questions. And if they're not willing to tell you, that would be a red flag too. Number 6, what is the community like? So beyond just the brands and the salespeople and the marketing people and all of that, consider the community that's around the brand. There are very loyal communities to a lot of these brands. There are also communities that aren't so loyal. So you need to look into that too. Browse the internet, use Google, search for groups or forums, whatever it may be for the brands you're interested in. I know Epilog has a Facebook group that they interact with. There's distributors on there that will answer your questions, I swear, within minutes of you asking, or they'll try to direct somebody to it. So that group has been great. And I know that Glowforge has a forum of users, and I think Thunder has a forum of users. So there are user groups out there. You just need to look at the ones that you're interested in and see what they're like, see what the people are like, see if the people are warm and welcoming in the way they write, or see if they're negative towards new users, because sometimes that happens. Just keep all of that in mind. And with that user group, try to find a couple people that actually own that brand that you're interested in and talk to them about their experiences, and just ask them point blank, like, honestly, would you go with them again? Or what do you like and not like? That's okay to do, because you're going to be sinking money into this to start a business. And if it's a good community with good users, most of the users of their machines will answer your questions and they won't have an issue with it. Number 7 is, will their platform grow with your business? Now, what I mean by this is, say you're starting out, you're an entry-level business, you buy an entry-level machine. Do you have an option to upgrade to a better machine long-term? Meaning a bigger bed size or faster speeds or whatever it may be. So again, from the Epilog perspective, I started on a Mini 24, which is a 12 by 24 inch bed. My friend had a Zing 24, which is a 12 by 24 inch bed. Now, the Mini was faster than the Zing. When I went to look at upgrading to a larger size, at the time I bought the Fusion M240, so I got a bigger bed. It had the camera system for registration dots. It had more wattage, so I could cut through materials easier, get through things faster. They had a rotary attachments. They had things I could use, and they were a bigger bed size, so I was able to start making bigger products. I was able to do things faster, and it helped me grow that side of the business. Some companies don't have multiple tiers of machines where you can do that. So you might be stuck in a 12 by 20. Just keep that in mind as you go through, because if you buy a second machine long term and you want it to be, say, a 2 foot by 3 foot workbench, if the brand you chose to begin with on your entry level machine doesn't have that option to grow with you, and you have to grow out into a different brand, then you're running 2 different softwares, you're working with 2 different machines, potentially 2 different ways of communicating with the machine, and it just makes things more complicated. Versus staying within one brand, typically it's easy to learn, you stick with it, it's easy to add another machine, and so on and so forth. Number 8 is, what is the full price of the machine all in? When I say all in, I mean it includes shipping, it includes taxes, it includes all the accessories you want, it includes the machine you need, all the accessories you have to have, like compressors and exhaust fans and things like that. Sometimes the advertised price isn't the end price because you have all these add-ons at the end. Think of it like buying a car. So you got the brand new car on the lot, but then you want to add the tow package. So that's an extra cost. Or you want to add the sport package, which is an extra cost. It's the same kind of concept where you go in, you know what the base price of the machine is, and then you want to add the rotary, or you want to add the compressor, or you want to add the exhaust, or you want to add a vector cutting grid, whatever it might be. At the end of the day, you need to know what it's going to cost you all in, with everything included, shipped to your door, and finished. You don't want to have any surprise costs, so make sure that you get a breakdown of all the costs, what it's going to cost you, to make sure you don't have any hidden costs or things they didn't divulge in the process, or things that they're going to slap on at the end and surprise you with, because I've seen that happen to people. So just make sure you get the full breakdown right off the bat. Another good tip for that is, when you're getting your pricing, ask if there's any kind of trade show discounts or any kind of discounts they have, because sometimes some of these companies will have a trade show discount because they went to display at a show, and they'll keep the discount for a week or something like that. And that can save you a little bit of money or get you a free accessory thrown in when you buy a machine. Number 9, what is the processing time for what you're doing? So this is where your test file comes in. Say you make earrings. With earrings, you make a pair. Say it takes, I don't know, 4 minutes to make a pair of earrings. And you say, okay, well, if it's 4 minutes per pair and I need to make 100 pairs, it's going to take this amount of time. This is how much I'm going to have to charge for my time. You can extrapolate all of those numbers out and figure out how many you can make per hour, what that's going to look like for your costs and everything associated. And then what you can do is have them do a full bed of that design and try to estimate the time it will take. You'll often find that when you fill the full bed, that your time per pair will actually go down because you're utilizing the full bed. And that will also save you time. So making, a full bed of a product will take you less time per product than it would if you did one. Kind of like how if you buy something in bulk at the store, it typically costs less per ounce for a larger quantity than the smaller quantity. Think of it that way. And number 10 is the overall cost of ownership. There are machines that cost a lot up front, but the cost of ownership is pretty low because either you don't have to replace parts that often, or maybe it doesn't draw as much power when you do it, or it doesn't have as many accessories that need to have power. So for example, Epilog doesn't have a water chiller because it doesn't have a water cooling loop, whereas glass tube lasers will have a water chiller, which is an extra piece of equipment, which is extra electricity. And you need to understand the overall cost of ownership. So this is where talking to people that have owned them or own that brand and find out how often they have to replace parts, about how much cost the parts are, things like that can give you an insight into how long it's going, or how much it's going to cost while you own the laser. Because a $5,000 laser may cost you $10,000 long-term by the time you replace parts every year or every 2 years or whatever. Whereas you could have bought a $10,000 laser and not had to do anything in that same span of time and gotten a better quality machine. So think of it that way. Sometimes it's better to buy a quality machine over the cheapest machine, but I also get that budgets are definitely in play. So you can't always afford the highest quality. So it's definitely a difficult decision to make. I've been through it myself. It was not easy to do. If you have questions about my experiences or want to ask me anything about what I went through, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer them. Or if you want to see more videos on these kind of topics where I try to break it down more, let me know that too, because I want to make sure that I'm getting you the best information I can to help you make the best decisions for your business. Obviously, I recommend Epilog. I also recommend Trotec. Both are great for production level businesses. And then, you know, Thunder Laser I've heard is great for a small business doing smaller quantities of things that aren't high production. It just depends on what you want to do. So hopefully this has been helpful. If you want to see more videos like this, drop a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you know when I come out with new videos. If you want to see a different topic around buying a laser for a business, put it in the description. Put it in the comments below. Try your best to think through everything as you go through this process. I know this was a lot of information. It's a really long video. So thanks for sticking with me. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.